or presents Guess Who's Coming to State Dinner?
This is Gary Butterfield.
This is Cole Ross.
And we all owe Assassinating 911 an apology.
I've been working on a Type 5 about Lincoln. Got that material nice and ready. Fresh.
Oh boy.
Oh boy.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
This one.
This one, man.
Yeah.
It's at least they acknowledge it is the thing.
To me, there are fewer funny jokes than in Love Bites to this. And this is my least favorite episode of the season. I think this is boring and not very funny.
Yes. Don't care for it. This one written, it's a public joint, and you can kind of tell because of, it's pretty light on digression, right? And we had Ben Edlund in here. He gets a writing credit on it too. And it originally aired September 10th of 2006. It's important to say what year it is because a lot of the humor is very outdated.
Very dated. And they talk about it in the book and on the commentary. They kept trying to make Bud Manstrong work. This is a follow-up on Careers in Science with Bud Manstrong. Gargantua 1 crashes, and Bud Manstrong is receiving honors at the White House about it. And they both agree that there's something to Bud Manstrong. They're friends with the guy who did the vocal performance. They like things about him. He just never found the right episode, which I probably agree with. There's something there. I understand why that character appeals. It never works. And I kind of get it. I'm sympathetic to the boys in this one, even though I don't want to see this episode again.
And they tried it twice, right? They had the first one, and I don't think that Careers in Science is a bad episode. It's weird.
It's on. It's off. It's on. It's off. It's on. It's off. It's on. It's off. Yeah.
It's called Blinking.
It's a good episode.
Yeah. No, but they say, okay, let's give them another try in a different context, and I would go so far as to say that something that kills him is the vocal performance to a certain degree because everything takes so long to say.
Man, I'm glad you said that. I was just about to say that. It's very measured. He's a pacing killer.
Yes. Kind of in a similar way to Underbite, actually.
Yeah.
With his hemming and hawing and just kind of overplaying the neuroticism and, the impropriety.
Yeah. Which is, again, it's kind of a funny idea, but it's kind of the opposite, of the Ghost of Sargasso, where this would work better on the page because you read faster than you hear. So that, it's this wasn't very funny on the page, and they had to assure me that it'd be funny on the screen. This is something where I could see how it's funny on the page.
Oh, he's an uptight loser.
Yeah, he's an uptight loser, and he's got this very specific sense of neuroses. But on the screen, it just kills the pace. Very season 1 feelings.
Yes. Yeah.
Really, really disconnected from the rest of the season and the rest of the show. And full of them trying to do political humor, but also in a weird, misguided way, trying to be bipartisan.
Yeah.
In a way that is always bad. It is better to have a perspective.
Yep.
In all writing, not just comedy. But it is, especially in comedy, it's better to have a perspective than try to just play both sides as being fucking stupid.
Yeah. And so what you end up with isn't an amalgamation of some late night lines about presidents wacky.
Yes.
Why even have the fucking president in this, guys?
I
don't know.
They talk about how they wanted to make it, they wanted the Venture Brothers to interact with the real world. And they were it's kind of fun. He's up there at the White House. And I kind of get that as a set piece.
Yeah.
But they had nothing to say about it. And they very specifically had nothing to say about it or wanted to say because they wanted to again, not be too political or whatever. So you end up with all kinds of late night comedy jokes from 1996 and 2002.
Yep.
And a lot of LBJ energy.
Yep.
Which isn't from anybody.
Yeah. It's like Dana Snyder's performance. It's we'll make Clinton cigar jokes, but also have a bit of George W. Bush energy because they can't say nuclear.
Yeah. And that cigar joke thing is one of the weirdest.
Yeah.
Like when you think about what actually happened there and the fact that like Jay Leno was talking about it 5 nights a week for like 3 months, it's just very weird to think about
3
like
decades.
the monster Jay Leno just talking about penetrating vaginally a young girl with little power with a cigar.
Yeah.
Just over and over and over.
There's a very good podcast I'm listening to called You're Wrong About. That specifically goes back to stories, like high profile stories from the 80s and 90s. Think like from Satanic Panic down to like Tanya Harding or whatever. And the consistent villain is late night comedy, because like it reevaluates and says, hey, this picture that you have about this person who did this thing is wrong and bad. And the villain is, one of the villains is always news media and late night comedy, who just fucking just dine specifically on the suffering of women. And Jay Leno's weird, mean, like just fucking awful version of comedy that is always just punching down factors in quite frequently.
Being.
Yeah.
Lorena Bobbitt did something funny just in a contextless situation. There's no reason for her to have done that.
Nope.
Isn't it funny? Just horrible. So you're very hacky. Public says he was kind of under the gun to write this. Like he did a draft and had to wrap it up really quick. He ended up having to cut tons of stuff to make it fit time, but a lot of the stuff he cut to make it work ended up taking a lot of the jokes. He is too late to change course. Jackson Public, like the part, or Doc Hammer in the book is just like, I have nothing to say about this episode, exclamation point. Is like, and then he goes on to talk about it, but it's, and you can tell that they don't like the episode because during the commentary and the book, they just talk about how well painted the backgrounds are.
Yep.
Like it's the only thing they say about the episode during one of the more uniquely uninformative commentaries. On the season, and that's the Venture Brothers thing. But the fact that I was already kind of frustrated with this episode made me more frustrated to spend more time in this world where I wasn't even getting insight into why they did it. I just got a couple like mumbled, apologies, and then just kind of busting, Mike Sinterklaas's balls, which I enjoy because he's Dean.
Yeah. It's fun. It's
Dean.
fun to hear his natural like speaking voice and to like hear him talk about just my job in the industry, like I run the studio and like all that, and then to have them just try to make him uncomfortable by being themselves. Busting balls is fun.
Very fun. I love that. I love that dude's rock. It's like I love male energy in that way. I really like the part in the commentary where Doc Hammer is talking about what it's like to make love to him. It's like making love to a 9-year-old's conception of making love, where he gets out the feathers and the magic shell, like with Korea and stuff. And that part made me laugh a lot. But it is not a great commentary and a bad episode. And let's talk about it.
Yeah.
Very few things in this I think are actually like pretty funny.
Right.
We start off with Gargantua 1 plummeting in the atmosphere with Bud Manstrong piloting it, going on at length about, a Mayday. And Anna Baldwin gets up and does something to stop the station from crashing into the city.
Yeah.
However, Bud Manstrong survived instead of her.
Right. Yeah. And we get, a little montage here of magazine covers and articles and stuff like that about him, being greeted as this national hero. It's not made explicit what he did. I think the idea is this thing crashed, but he stopped it from like landing in a city or something like that.
Yeah. And he didn't really do it, but the idea that he's taking credit for it doesn't get full kind of shrift here. And the Venture Brothers are invited to this to this ceremony because he owns the space station. It's like it wasn't Bud Manstrong's station that almost crashed. It was mine.
He thinks I should be getting that medal because I owned it. It's like he says it'd be like giving a medal to the seat.
Yeah, it's very very good. Funny Doc stuff.
Yeah. And he's I like how he calls him Luck Rogers, and it's very clear that he had been workshopping it because he also had a second worse idea. Like Flash in the Pan Gordon, I think is what he was going to call him. And Brock, Brock like is just like saying like, "Oh, geez, man."
All the good stuff from this just comes from the core cast.
Yes. Yeah.
We get introduced to a character who they gratefully never brought back. This guy named Hauser, who is supposed to be like a tough version of Brock who went legit in a different way. And they have this rivalry. Again, this doesn't really go anywhere. It's weird how slow this episode is and still feels overstuffed.
Yeah.
Like you get the beginnings of a lot of plots.
Right. Where like Hauser is, talking down to him and like implies that he has the ability to demote him, but he couldn't demote him any further. It's the relationship is weird, and it ends on a joke that I like where, just somebody alludes to, we were in Nam together, but it wasn't during the war, like that's fun. Like in It's Always Sunny when Frank says, I was in Nam. It was like 1993 and you were there to set up a sweatshop.
It's a funny joke that I've seen too many times now.
Yes. Yeah.
It's just, it has played out to me. It's also, we've already done the, him trying to leverage this against Brock feels very season 1 as well, because the point that we're at with Brock is that he's happy. Yes. This is his family. He does not feel like this is emotion. And that's one of the cool things about his character is that he feels proud of this because he loves these people, regardless of whether it's a joke job.
Right.
For assholes. This dinner where Bud Manstrong is regaling the crowd, talking about his heroism, and this thing. And Rusty, wants to get everyone's attention. Rusty wants to make it star of the show. Again, we also just did this story with Fallen Arches, where somebody is getting accolades and Rusty wants them. While Bud Manstrong's mom keeps trying to get Brock to fuck her.
She's drunk and belligerent and
horny.
Yeah, and horny as hell. She is, as Brock says later, trying to free Nelson Mandela under the table.
Yeah, trying to pull out his dick. Because you know how women hit their sexual peak at the age of 70? That's what's happening here.
Women age like wine, men age like cheese, yes.
Yeah. And she knows who he is because, and we have to kind of be reminded of this as well, that Brock and Manstrong have a history.
Yes.
Careers in Science is an early episode in season 1.
Yeah. But she's hot for him, even though he beat up her son and left him for dead. We end Careers in Science thinking that Manstrong is going to be drifting off into space because he gets blasted into Gargantua 1's main window as the rocket takes off.
But he is fine.
Yes.
Manstrong doesn't have any memory, kind of setting up what's going to be the plot here.
Yes.
Weird things are going on. He woke up in a hospital in Iranistan.
Right.
Doesn't have any memory. When he tries to remember more, he flashes back to these surgeons talking about the procedure being a success.
Yes.
Setting up our obvious Manchurian Candidate.
Right. Yeah. They mentioned something about a chip. All of this is kind of a misdirection, but we're led to believe that he is up to no good because of some movers and shakers. The president gets up in his LBJ kind of way and goes to give a toast to Bud, but Bud's mom gets up and speaks truth to power and says, "Oh, you're just using my son to cover up your administration's crappy record." And her son Bud is just in agony over the way that she is talking, breaking decorum, all of that. And she goes on to talk about how his dad couldn't find the G-spot. Okay.
It's a man. Finding the G-spot jokes is kind of like putting on condom jokes.
Yep.
And things are how big do these people think vaginas are?
You
can look everywhere in a moment of seconds.
Yeah.
It's not if what's happening is it's not that you're not finding it.
It's not a fucking portal to Narnia, dude.
Yeah. It's not a walk-in closet. It's not a junk drawer in a stranger's house. You can find it. I promise you. It's just incredible. And then it's just Bud's one joke.
Right mother.
Rusty asks Bud to help him get close to the president, and Miss Manstrong, the mom, orders him not to give anybody anything. And when she orders him something, his eyes get all weird.
Right.
Again, foreshadowing the mom control here.
While this is happening, the ghost of Abraham Lincoln is watching. So ghosts are real and not just the intangible fancy.
Yes. In the episode, in the commentary, they talk about how the Abraham Lincoln stuff is the best stuff in this episode.
Nope.
I am sick of this. I don't like this. I don't think there are any good jokes with Abraham Lincoln in it.
Nope. The last thing
I can think
about
Abraham Lincoln is funny, but
the last Abraham Lincoln joke that I laughed at was the Whitest Kids You Know, where he gets assassinated because he's just talking shit from the balcony.
Yeah. But this is funny. Yeah. This is the worst experience I've had in a theater. Like, there was he showed up in heaven in Elite Period Simpsons I watched.
Yeah.
And he talks about how
30,
sad he
Gary?
was.
Hey, Gary, was it season 30? Okay, cool.
He talks about how sad he was that his biopic got bested by Argo, and he says the worst experience he's had in a theater.
Okay, that's good. I like that.
Yeah, they're man, I'm telling you, the good jokes in late season.
Yeah, no,
it's also really horny, man.
Oh.
The Marge and Homer, it's a subplot in every episode that they can't find time to fuck. And I want to know if there's an origin episode for this or something, but like, it is way hornier. And the real answer is because it's easier to make jokes about that. But
yeah, well, they're borrowing some of that Family Guy heat where they're like secretly like ultra kinky or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, everybody's ultra kinky. They just fuck all the time.
Yeah.
All the time. There's a thing where they sneak into a basement to fuck, and I'm like, is this a running joke from an earlier season I missed?
Yeah.
Anywho, so the ghost of Abraham Lincoln is here. The dinner ends because Brock stands straight up and says, "Come on, lady."
I'm not into it. Take a hint or whatever.
Not into it.
Yeah.
She's trying to pull his dick out.
Yeah, he stands up and he sprays wine everywhere out of his mouth, including all over the boys, which sets up their subplot where they're staying the night in the Lincoln bedroom, but nobody else is staying the night. It's not like bedtime.
Yeah. It's also Hank is telling a joke to a diplomat about Johnny Deeper. And the only good part about that subplot to me is the delivery.
Yeah.
Hank's enthusiasm saying Johnny Deeper and the diplomat being like, "But what happened to Johnny Deeper?" I think is funny, even if it is just accent joke.
I had no idea what Johnny Deeper. I have no idea what that meant until I like saw it on the wiki or whatever. Is it literally just about a young boy who
getting statutorily raped?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
It's one of those jokes.
Yeah. The 80s were weird, huh?
Yeah. You just have a kid and use him as a stud and have that be the subject of a joke, like Ramblin' Rose style.
Yeah. Okay.
Back in the day.
Okay.
As all the kids loved it.
Yeah.
Get home, watch Ninja Turtles, then tell each other the Johnny Deeper joke. Yep.
Yeah. So the president pulls Bud into the Oval Office. Says basically, your mom's right. My administration's in the crap. And offers Bud a Cuban cigar, but says no, not that one, implying he just keeps the he keeps the one that he's stuck in.
Cigar.
He keeps he keeps that one around. And says like, Bud, I need you to be my running mate because you're squeaky clean, right?
Yep.
And because you're squeaky clean, I think that you're going to be motivated. I'm going to offer up any of my secretarial staff, as meat for you. Any of them you want to fuck, except for that one, the one in the blue dress who smells like this. And he puts his finger into the guy's nose, bringing in, hey, we got the cigar, the blue dress. She comes in to give a blowjob later.
She does come in and give him a blowjob later. Also, whenever there's the same thing with finding a G-spot, like I'm very irritated in this specific moment of time about sex jokes that have no conception of what sex is like. And I don't know why, but like he didn't just come from a finger and sesh.
Nope.
What is the idea here? Like he never washes that finger. It's fucking ridiculous.
Yeah.
I just, and Bud doesn't like it either.
No.
Like, me and Bud are simpatico in this episode.
That's not a good thing.
Yeah, no. But he freaks out and leaves. He can't handle it.
Right.
He goes and talks to his mom. He's just, saying like, oh, the churlishness, et cetera. And she says, no, you have to take the job. And she orders him. And we get the eye thing again.
Yes. The housekeeper has taken Hank and Dean to the Lincoln bedroom. I guess where they're going to stay. Like she puts them in pajamas while she goes to wash them away, saying that Club Soda will get out anything, which comes back. Yeah. Like that is a brick joke for later on.
That's kind of a funny joke. Like when that happens later. Yeah, that kind of works.
Yeah.
Dean tells Hank that he thinks the house is haunted. He keeps trying to pick up a penny that keeps rolling away. We're going to find this out because of the weird, improbable, just arbitrary ghost rule that if you're a ghost, you can touch things that have your face on them.
Right. I mean, don't want to take us on too much of a digression here. I don't believe in ghosts. I don't believe that hauntings are real. If there's any place that's haunted, it's the fucking White House, right?
Well, yeah, but like haunted in a much more demonic.
Yeah.
Like not in a fun, the presidents are all there and they hang out and have a party.
No.
It's like, haunted by the people who are interred in the walls and like got buried to make it and stuff.
Yeah. if I'm saying, if I'm
Haunted by
thinking,
freedom.
the
ghost of it.
If I'm thinking of any place that will be a locus for the world's miseries in a Ghostbusters 2,
Sure.
pink goo kind of way, there's some pink goo under that place. There would be. There,
Pentagon.
Pentagon.
Yeah, there's lots of places like
Congress.
but the White House would be one of them. Congress,
Yeah.
the halls of Congress.
Oh,
Clown Town.
those clowns? Come on.
The clowns, the haunted clowns. It's Pennywise's. Senator Pennywise has the floor from the great state of Massachusetts.
Now I'm just a simple country Lovecraftian spider from beyond the stars.
I take this form of a clown as senator because your minds can comprehend it.
Now I show you the deadlights one leg at a time.
Just like anybody else. When I'm flying at 40,000 feet below ground, this is how my view looks.
Now my constituents up there in Derry, Maine, they got some concerns about the waterworks.
Yeah, they got some concerns about me. They're trying to vote me out of office. Senator Pennywise and Congressman Pennywise take the show on the road.
So anyway.
Rusty hears that Bud's mom has the hots for Brock and tries to get Brock to a pity lay.
Yep.
So he can get in and talk to the president.
Yeah.
And I love that, again, self-awareness, doesn't excuse anything, but in the commentary, they're like, this line sounds so gross in this episode, but it wouldn't sound gross in another episode.
Yeah.
And that's true. It sounds really filthy and just kind of like sexist and gross.
Yep.
In this episode, like the horny old lady joke that they made just rings wrong.
It doesn't land right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the Secret Service agent tries to taunt Brock about making the big scene at the dinner. And it's like, man, somebody tried to unzip my pants and pull out my dick.
Yeah.
I
feel like I acted proportionally.
Yeah, I can stand up if somebody's trying to non-consensually pull out my ding dong.
Yeah. She deserved to be publicly shamed, dude.
Yeah. Secret Service agent doesn't have a leg to stand on.
Yeah.
But this is the final straw that makes Brock decide to help Rusty. He's like, fuck all this shit. I'm going to do whatever. Which again, I kind of like.
Yes.
Characterization. Dean sees Lincoln's ghost in the bedroom at night. And the Lincoln says that Manstrong is going to assassinate the president because of a chip his mom installed. So Lincoln knows this for some reason, and he wants to enlist the kids to help him prevent the assassination.
I like the idea that like the bat signal for Lincoln's ghost is just whenever a president's in trouble.
About to be assassinated. Yeah. Yes, I would watch the Lincoln's Ghost series where he goes and saves various presidents.
Uh-huh. Yeah, but like we're gonna learn, he has no reason to think this. He just saw the blinking on the back of Manstrong's neck. Like this is not true. Yeah.
Yes.
And Lincoln, it's funny because Hank is the boys are clueless. Lincoln has seen the Manchurian Candidate, which is fun.
I like that.
But Hank doesn't know who Abraham Lincoln is. I love the line reading. You invented the $5 bill.
Yeah, the idea of inventing a bill is funny to me. So he wants to possess one of the boys to stop him. He possesses Dean, and then Dean immediately goes to kiss his brother, Hank. And Hank slaps the ghost out of him. And Dean's like, what was that? And he goes, isn't it obvious? Honest Abe's a Mo, saying that Abraham Lincoln is gay because he decided to perform incest. The great emancipator decided to do some child incest.
Yeah.
Just the lanes we're trucking in here, man.
Yeah. It's not great.
This is below you, public.
Yeah. There can be there can be material. You can make an offhanded mention to the popular theory that Abraham Lincoln may have been homosexual or bisexual or just generally not straight, but no, not the place, not the time.
Well, not by making Dean venture.
Yeah.
Try to kiss his brother.
Yeah. And also
weird.
having Hank say, "Oh, Honest Abe's a Mo," I don't want Hank calling people slurs, dude.
No, Mo is not. Again, it doesn't feel right. So at his mom's urging, Manstrong is about to accept the job, but Rusty busts into the office with Brock's help.
Yes.
And again, this is very, written after 9/11, but very pre 9/11. Sure, Brock can just hold the door shut.
Yeah, Brock's like, I think you have a minute.
Yeah, the thing Rusty invented is actually remarkable.
It's really impressive. Yeah.
it's pretty rare that Rusty actually gets to do good super science, but it's another part of this episode just feeling weird. It's this little like tap light that creates a force field dome. Around here. I'm like, oh, this is very useful.
Yeah. Which it locks all of the security out of the Oval Office, right?
And radio signals and everything.
You know? Really good device. And of course, it is the remote is broken and ends up being stuck. They try and cart him out. Hey, the remote is stuck, and there's a nuclear battery. I like the line read, like, okay, so how long will it take for the batteries to run out? And Brock, Rusty asked Brock, "What's the half-life on cobalt?"
Yeah, it's cute.
Yeah,
like not really. Underlining the very scary reality of his situation where he'll die of lack of oxygen or whatever.
Yeah. Maybe you have to be stuck there for 5 years. Yeah.
It's fine. So they write on the force field to tell people outside, like, stuck in a force field, call army and scientist. And of course they call JJ. And this is the first, I forgot that this is where they show this, that he's settled in with Sally and Ned.
Yeah.
Like that they're a family. I totally forgot about JJ being in this episode because I think this is when I skip on rewatches.
Yeah.
Typically.
Just JJ is such a footnote in this. Like, he's just there to, like, make Rusty feel bad. He doesn't actually serve a plot purpose. Just kind of tease a little bit at some long-running character themes. Yeah. So this is a good joke as well. Like, in the intermittent time, Hauser, the jerk Secret Service agent, he has put a masking tape square around the Resolute desk and says, "I've secured a perimeter."
Yeah, very funny.
That's all I know how to do is secure a perimeter.
The JJ is trying to get on the force field. He's knocking on it. And Dean, who is possessed, tries running through it. And Dean doesn't get through. But Lincoln and his penny got through. Dean slams on the force field, but the ghost of Lincoln comes through with the penny. And this is where he realizes ghosts only have the ability to move things that have their image. So he sends Hank and Dean to get as many $5 bills as they can. This originally tied together some plots, quote unquote, about a protest and an upcoming civil war.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, okay. Like, I mean, I kind of wanted to see it because maybe there would have been some more jokes in it or what have you. But like, man, is that just, it seems like, you would have known not to.
There was a protest outside, and like the struggle, the conflict inside was going to be like the Civil War. Like, that's why Brock is in a blue suit and Manstrong is in a gray one. I cannot see what else that connects to, like what that plugs into. Like, as the boys go and do this montage where they are getting these $5 bills just from like army people around the and security around the place.
Just, can I have $5? Yes. And that's it. Like, I feel like there should have been something more clever. There, I don't know. So the Oval Office, the people who are stuck in the Oval Office pass around a liquor bottle, and Brock tries to apologize to Manstrong. That for sleeping with Baldovich, and Manstrong's like, you stole her maidenhead or whatever, and he's like, come on, you never hit that, and Manstrom's like, I would never hit a lady. Manstrom jokes, and walks away when his mom passes out and just like dunks her face right on Brock's crotch, like goes bobbing for balls, like in a drunken fashion. And he cannot handle.
No, he's like, oh, this is bad news. And Manstrong's going to flip out about this. We cut over as the police watch, bewildered as the boys are plastering $5 bills to Lincoln's ghost, making him into a $5 bill golem. That is one of the shittiest looking things I've seen in the show.
It's pretty bad looking. It's missing parts of it. And like on the commentary, Doc Hammer brings it up and he's like, yeah, that thing's fucking scary. Like, I don't like it. And it's true. It's like, it's shitty and scary looking and weird. It just, I don't like, weird is a hard thing to do. Like, there are episodes of the show that I think are offbeat and I end up liking them because they're so weird. But this is not one of them.
It's fun hearing Lincoln talk about watching FDR sleep. Like, there's a president, but that was really about it. His Lincoln sense tingles. Manstrong is going to make his move. He literally says, my Lincoln sense is tingling. So he's got to go and stop it, because Manstrong is in the Oval Office yelling at Brock for mistreating his mother. Calls him a Svengali and a Mandingo. just basically throwing around whatever term he can think of to impugn Brock's character.
Yes. And I don't actually know all of I know what a mandingo is. I don't know all the provenance of it.
Yeah.
It feels like something I'm not going to say in polite company.
No, it's racially
like a
charged.
racially coded stud.
Yeah.
Stud word. Lincoln comes charging in as the golem, like he looks like garbage, wrestles Manstrong to the desk and reveals the chip in his neck.
Yes.
And here's our twist or whatever, where his mom, Manstrong's mom, shoots Lincoln in the head to save her son. Just oh no, not again. And the idea here is, and they talk about this again on the commentary, like a lot of people didn't really understand, and it's like, whose fault is that?
Yeah, because you tried to like undo an entire episode's worth of red herrings in 30 seconds at the end of this.
Yes,
yeah,
it's inept.
Yeah.
Rusty notices the chip on the back of his neck has the Venture Brothers logo, and he plugs into his watch. This is the motherboard from Gargantua 1. It's not a mind control chip.
Nope, it just got lodged in there during the crash. It's not actually controlling him.
His mom just controls him, like like Norman Bates or whatever. And the chip has video footage of Anna trying to seduce him while the ship is going down.
Yeah,
and watching this causes him to pass out. And while he's passed out, he starts playing with himself until he finally comes. And when he reaches manual orgasm, he says, "My God is full of stars."
Yeah,
because he's finally cleaned that pipe that has been log jammed for quite a while.
It's not been log jammed; his log has been jammed.
Yeah. Well, there's logs in there. Smaller logs. What is a sperm but a tiny log with a tail?
Yeah, no, I can't argue with that.
Yeah, no, it's infallible. And then as is Lincoln, who is just like penny for your thoughts, and that's the credits.
That's the credits. As we get into the post credits, there was like a little side plot here, like an off, like a beat, like where Lincoln says, "Oh, maybe saving Manstrong will let me get my wings and ascend." It didn't happen. And Rusty says, "Oh, tackling a masturbator isn't good enough." And then we get a little like ribbing about Rusty playing with himself in the Lincoln bedroom when he was 13, a score and a half years ago.
Which, like, the idea of Rusty, what they were doing at the that could have been a good source of jokes, having a flashback with the original Team Venture here.
Yeah.
Like Rusty would have done here as a kid. Like there's potential here that they just fucking lost. And then, the idea of tackling a masturbator, again, people making sex jokes as if, they don't know anything about sex. Like a masturbator isn't a thing with any kind of cachet.
Yeah.
Like a public masturbator, like it's pretty weird that he jerked off to completion in front of his mom and coworkers and the president.
Yeah.
And Lincoln. But it's not weird that he masturbates. And Lincoln shaming Rusty for masturbating isn't really a thing either. Like Rusty was going to watch the best little whorehouse in Texas and have a little mono y mono, like mono y solo, fun. Like it just doesn't work. It needed a pass to somebody just be like, this isn't really a joke, dude.
Yeah.
And then my favorite part of the episode is at the end, the housekeeper breaks the force field with club soda.
Yeah.
And like, just, I told you anything will come out with club soda. I thought that was funny.
Yeah. I can see that. I just, I don't know. It didn't work as well for me as it worked for you.
Well, I mean, I'm not saying it was like my joke of the season or anything. I'm a starving man in the desert.
Any port.
Yeah, any port.
It's fun. It's funny the way that they drop Bud Manstrong, I think, advisedly, right? It's like we gave him 2 cracks. It just didn't work. When they bring Gargantua 1 back, like in a pretty big way, like later on, like movie night and the Pyramid Wars and stuff like that, things that are kind of retconned into being really, really important stuff. The idea that Bud Manstrong not only is this person who is henpecked by his mom, but also is traumatized by this horrifying thing that he lived through as a kid on a space station, like that could have actually tied in as they bring that back. I was expecting that to happen when they started playing in those spaces again. It's just, it's weird that they bring so many things back, but they didn't even allude to him.
Yeah. I have a feeling that like cutting their losses and pretending this episode doesn't exist
Yeah.
is kind of what happened. You know, and it's like, I would have preferred the version of Bud Manstrong that they saw, and even the version that's in Careers in Science.
Yeah.
You know, which is a funnier, better episode than this.
Yeah.
It's just, it's disappointing. And again, though, you know, they talk about it like, you know, do a bunch of episodes in a season. They eventually moved on to shorter seasons.
Yeah.
You know, they took some of that pressure off themselves. It's fine.
Yeah.
It's all fine. It's over in 20 minutes. Then you never have to think about it again.
You're allowed to, you know, they're allowed to have a bum episode, you know. It's like, oh yeah.
They're allowed, you can have a couple of seasons. It's still, you know, one of my favorite TV shows of all time.
Yeah.
You know, it is a bummer to watch it. It's a bummer to have to like try to research it and relearn about it.
Yeah.
You know,
to be forced to engage with it beat by beat, as opposed to just skipping out on a rewatch, which you ought to do.
Yeah. And the rest of the season, there's an episode that's entirely written by Ben Edlund, which is also weird, but better.
Yeah.
Than this. And the next episode is, again, it's a banger. You know, we get Killinger in the next episode.
Yeah.
So it's all, you know, it's uphill or downhill, either easier or better, whichever way you want to describe that.
Yeah.
From here on out, we've hit the nadir of this season.
Yes.
For sure.
Yeah. You know, and kind of the nadir of this awkward kind of point before the show became the one that everybody is really in love with, you know, like season 2, you know, when people talk about this, the conception is like, oh yeah, it became itself in season 3 or whatever. We've disproven that by, I think we've made a case, let's say, for why the show was there in season 1 and, you know, there in season 2 or whatever. But like the show does qualitatively change, and we're going to leave episodes like this behind. You know,
the way that episodes will let us down in the future, which happens from time to time, will be different.
Yes.
You know,
we're still going to get the Billy Quizboy origin episode, you know.
It's going to be Crimes of Ambition, where it's like very plot heavy and low on jokes, or they're trying to do something that is pretty cool and it doesn't quite entirely work. Yeah. As opposed to them trying to do basically nothing. Yeah. Which is what this feels like. Yep. So, thanks everybody for listening. We appreciate you. If you'd like to get episodes a week early and support us, you can go over to patreon.com/Duckfeed.tv. Yep. We would really appreciate that. Yeah. And if you would like to support the show in general, you can leave us ratings, reviews on Apple Podcast.
Tell your friends and listen to other stuff on the network.
Absolutely. Yeah. We like it.
We do. We do it. We spend a lot of time doing it.
Yeah, we wouldn't have made it if we didn't like it.
Yeah.
And until next time,
go Team Venture.